In the heart of downtown Biddeford, there's a small store with a big following. It's called Wooven, and the co-owner and designer, known in the United States as Albert, sews his own creations. Albert moved to Maine in 2019, a long way from where he grew up in Saigon, now known as Ho Chi Minh City. Let's go back to your childhood in Vietnam. How did you get into sewing and designing?
From the beginning, when I was little, maybe 10 or something like that, I know how to fix our clothes a little bit. But then when I grew up around 20 something, my mom told me that to learn how to sew my own clothes so I don't have to go to the tailor. And listen to her, I just make her happy so I can, I start to learn my sewing lesson and things like that. And I design my own clothes at the time just for myself. And I'm so happy that I can make my own clothes. And the time that I have to find good material around the early mid-80s, it's very hard to find good material, and I love cotton and linens and things like that. So I have to spend a lot of time to the market to find remnant fabric left over so I can have my own thing, my own look. But then my friends and other asking me to make clothes for them, I had to using my pieces to make for them, and I had to go back to the market to replace my pieces. So keep going like that, and I expand my sewing area a little bit bigger, just another sewing machine, another help, and go from there slowly from 1984 to early mid 1990s. And when I met Ron, he asked me if I want to join to do wholesale. So I, using my talent, as I said, and create a look for home decors like pillows and stuff like that. And during the year from early 2000 to late 2000, that we do a lot of wholesale with my design and stuff like that.
Albert comes at this from the design side, the materials, the techniques, and that's his passion. And my background is in economic development through USAID in Asia. And so when we paired up, my focus was actually hand-woven silks in Cambodia, from Cambodia. I'd been living in Cambodia. And I had him making pillows and quilts and things with the Cambodian silks in the late 90s, and then we started wholesale and quickly ran out of capacity on the production side. So then we started using Vietnamese silks, machine woven silks, but all hand stitched and hand quilted at his workshop in Vietnam. And then we kept our focus though on hand wovens and handmade materials. I see traditional crafts as the easiest path to economic development for a lot of villages where there's no Nike factory to go work in, which is a nasty existence anyway. And passing down traditional skills from the elderly to the new generation was really key to what I wanted to do. And it's happening because the young people see economic viability in the traditional crafts. So they want to learn it, and they can make money more than they can make in a smelly factory 100 miles from home, living in a dorm and working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So home-focused, traditional craft-focused, with real economic development potential with it. Yeah.
Both Ron and Albert have built their business around supporting local, which means really twofold for shoppers here, supporting the Biddeford economy and women makers from around the world.
So Wooven is a fair trade store, with our roots at the village level, and here you'll see lots of different crafts from Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and now India. We're in our new India room, working with a group in New Delhi, and you'll find home goods, rugs, bedspreads, throws, pillows, handbags, ceramics, handmade paper. One of my favorite projects is with a Lao Disabled Women's Group in Vientiane, Laos. They train disabled women, most of whom had polio, to learn a craft they can do from home and earn some money. We also do a lot with natural dye groups in different villages. I think Maine also has a lot of interest in natural dyes. There's the Fiber College up in Searsport, the Natural Dye Garden, Maine Makers Guild, and I think we're going to work a lot closer with a lot of them also on the tour side of the business, which we've just started.
Are there certain fabrics that Vietnam is known for?
In Vietnam, actually, we don't have much of good fabrics, but the fabric we focus right now is mostly the handmade fabric from Laos, because we go deep into handmade, because we work with a lot of villages around Vietnam and Laos. But the Laos, they have their own cotton. They grow cotton, hand spun, hand woven. So I'm using the fabric to design into home decors and clothing as well. And part of that, I also using repurpose from the ethnic people. The own pieces I join together, mix them up, and I do only one of a kind pieces. If it's so, I create something else new.
So tell us about some of the things that people say when they come into your store.
When they come to the store, mostly people around the area here that in the past they have related with the like the cotton and sewing and craft and everything around the area. So when they come in, it's kind of like, wow, like they haven't seen this before. They haven't done anything like this, or mostly the tourist people from other states. When they in town and they're browsing, and they said they really good look. They wish that this store would be located in New York or elsewhere, and the price is good too for them. So
Albert has quickly become a big part of the Biddeford business community. His exceptional talent and endearing personality is the perfect combination for success. He even convinced our executive producer, Nat Thompson, to be a model in the Rotary Club fundraiser, Nat's first time on the runway.
I first met Ron and Albert probably about 5 years ago when they came into the chamber and said that they wanted to open a new business in Biddeford, but just didn't know where to locate, and were on a fairly tight budget. And at the time, it was interesting. We actually had extra space at the chamber, so it's a cliche, but it was a win-win in that Ron and Albert decided to start their store right next to us, adjacent to us as neighbors. So for a year, they were proving out their concept of Wooven, hand in hand here with the chamber. We did a big ribbon cutting, and everybody was excited to see them come to town. Still at that point, it was an emerging specialty retail scene in Biddeford. So once they opened the doors, people saw the quality of the products and got to meet Ron and Albert and really embrace them. And the rest, I think, is Wooven history. They had so much success that they eventually moved up to a larger space in downtown Main Street.
I know Albert because when they first set up the shop, somebody told me that it looked like my kind of place. And they were down on Lower Main Street at the time. And I went in, and yeah, definitely my kind of place. The merchandise is beautiful, the people are beautiful. And Albert is just so talented. I've watched him enlarge the number of things that he makes, and he's a very talented artisan.
They have been such a great addition to this street, to the offerings of shops. They work with all kinds of different indigenous artists in Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. Albert, I from what I hear, was a pretty famous tailor back when he lived abroad. And he has brought his talents and his beautiful wares to offer to everybody here, and it's been really nice having them as my neighbors.
Small town in Biddeford, but mostly people are very friendly and supportive. Yeah. And I have met so many customers that I do a lot of custom stuff, design, home decors for people living around here. and seemed like really fit into the area, and because of my design and my product is completely different than the rest, so I'm glad that I've been here. Yeah.